Welcome back. It is 1630. In the last one, Margaret aged up into a teenager and unfortunately was scarred in a fire. So that was bad. But this year, we have a few things going on. So let's roll for some birthdays. We have Dakota Waldrick, no 12, 16, or 18. Silas and Zebediah Hobart, no 4, 8, or 17. Ooh. Okay, well, Silas just died. Josiah Hobart, no 13 or 19. Solomon Waldrick, no 3, 9, or 20. Come on, Solomon. Survive, survive, survive. He survived. Ismay Larkin has to get at least a 9. Will she? Ismay. You know what? We ended the last decade with Margaret aging up, and now Ismay is dying. I can't say how mad about it. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Okay. And then Humphrey, the elder, has 18 years left of his life. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh, this is so many. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh my gosh. Humphrey. Which Humphrey are you exactly? Yes, I was right. Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. All right. Let me check this first. Hold on. I just totally got distracted. Okay. It looks like we do have Weedamoo aging up into a teenager as well this year. So let's hop into the game. All right, so today is Harvest Fest, and also it is the first video that I'm recording in a few weeks. So I just wanted to thank everybody for all of your input on, I think the 1620 video has come out, and then like maybe another video after that. But like I said, because my weird schedule, I'm like ahead, but then also not doing Sims for weeks at a time. So I really appreciate all your comments. I do agree. I think Settlement is a much better choice for a name for something, for like the community. And then also, I noticed a lot of people wanted Sophronia to come back, so maybe we'll have to arrange something like that. But first, it is Harvest Fest, and we are going to try and have Margaret cook the Harvest Fest meal so that everyone can come over and enjoy and have a good holiday. Meanwhile, Priscilla is cleaning up the garden. It is still kind of in shambles from the fires, so I'm sure Ismay is getting on them about all of that. And of course, another fire, right? The stove catches on fire again, so I'm like, all right, let's try this again. And this is probably dumb of me because I was like, just cook the meal. But because they all have a fear of fire, they're all more likely to start fires. And I'm like, okay, Margaret, get away from the fire. And what happens? Like, seriously, I can't make this up. Why does she keep dying in the fire? I am not letting Margaret die. She did not roll tonight, so she will not die. Oh my gosh. I really sat here for like so long and thought about it. But I want things to move forward. Like, if we weren't going to go with Margaret, we would have to wait for Abigail to age up. And that's still like a few years out. And then we can start her. Like, I just feel like Margaret is so much further along. And I'm just so ready to get out of Ismay's house. Like, I want Margaret to be the one. So, poor Margaret. She keeps dying in fires and then getting resurrected by me because I won't let her rest. Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. But anyway, Ismay is supposed to die this year, so let's just say that Ismay dies in the fire. That's what we're going to do. We're going to say that Ismay died in the fire and that she, that's what happened to her. She died in the fire. Not Margaret. Ismay. Ismay died in the fire, not Margaret. So, Ismay is dying. And Margaret's taking a bath. And you know what? We're not going to cook. Thanksgiving is over. We're done with that. We're done with Thanksgiving. That's over. So, okay. So, that's what I'm dealing with right now. And I'm just looking around. There we go. Goodbye, Ismay. Margaret's actually really happy that she died for obvious reasons. Margaret is feeling much better that she died, but I think that, like, for Margaret, this doesn't change anything. You know, like, Margaret was already having to take care of everything, and now that Ismay is gone, she already still has to take care of everything because she's the only teenager, like, or above in the house. She is the adult in the house. And so none of that is really helping her because she is kind of still in this position of responsibility. Nothing has really changed except for the fact that Ismay isn't hounding her and bothering her and being mean to her all the time, which is an improvement. I will say that. It is an improvement, but her responsibilities have not changed. And I think that that is kind of frustrating to her because now she feels, in fact, she probably feels like she has more responsibilities because she can't just walk away because there's no one to take care of these kids now. Like, even though East May was in the house, like, we could leave the house if we really wanted to. So then they're going to have the funeral services the next day. Everyone is just kind of dealing with a sickness also. So there is that. But yes, everyone is kind of, consoling each other, trying to figure out the deal, trying to understand why we've had so many fires lately. It must be God's will. I don't know. What did they think back then? That everything was religious. But also, some of you were saying that, like, not everyone was a Puritan that came to America. So I think that that's a good point. I don't really have CC for if they're not Puritan. So we're just going to say that this is the outfit for everybody. But, like, obviously our Sims are not really doing what they're supposed to be doing if they were Puritan. So we can kind of say that they're not quite all the way there because they are messes. But what's going to happen next is you can see kind of Muriel and Abigail were talking. They're trying to talk, but they keep walking away. But, like, basically, Muriel is thinking about acting out. She is an evil sim. She wants to act out. And so she basically tells she tells Abigail the secret about Odalina's baby who she saw, and she, like, has Abigail say that out loud at church. So of course Humphrey, like, runs over and is like, "What are you talking about?" And kind of starts questioning the children about, like, "What do you mean? Like, what are you saying in front of everybody? Like, what are you trying to imply?" And, Abigail is just kind of a mouthpiece for Muriel at this point. Like, she's a goofball. She kind of likes the pranks, the jokes, and she thinks that Muriel also likes that. And she doesn't realize that Muriel is doing things maliciously. Like, Abigail didn't say that to be malicious against Odalina or anything. She thought it was funny. Like, Muriel convinced her that it was just, like, this funny little thing and she could, make a joke out of it. And Humphrey is, like, immediately investigating. He's like, "Hold on a second. What's going on here?" Because that is not okay. So he has to investigate. So he is actually we're going to play him now. So he's going to go over to Odalina's house and he is going to come and talk to her about this because obviously, just because Muriel and Abigail said anything doesn't mean that it's true. They're just kids. So he's going to go and talk to Odalina, and he is going to have this conversation with her about, "I heard this thing about you, like, about your baby." And, he kind of is realizing, like, he didn't realize at first. I don't think anybody really realized that they don't even know where the baby is buried. Like, they didn't really hold a funeral they didn't do anything that would, where's the baby? And he's kind of realizing now that nobody really questioned them because obviously they were grieving parents, they lost their child. And so Humphrey's kind of now seeing where some cracks in her story are. And so he's questioning her, and she's obviously lying to him, but he can kind of tell that, like, something's not quite right. So he's like, "Well, you know what? I need to figure this out." And because, when he questioned Muriel, she said something about, the meta comets. So he's going to come over here. She's pregnant also, though. I didn't know that she was pregnant. But he's going to come over here and he's going to, obviously Sokanon is mad about her husband's affair. And so she's going to very heavily, suggest that he go take a look at little baby, not Dakota. Dakota is Highway's baby. But, like, whatever the baby's name is, I forget now. I'd have to go look it up. But, this baby here, she's kind of like, "Why don't you go take a look? Like, see if you think, what you think about that." And it's kind of obvious that this is not the baby of Sokanon and Anawan. So, that's kind of obvious just by looking at him. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, like, it is true. Like, it must be true." And Sokanon, like, she's saying it, but not saying it, like, she's very heavily implying that, yes, that is Odalina's baby. And so, but she's not, like, coming right out and saying it either. She's being kind of evasive about it. So he's obviously like, "Absolutely not." So we're going to have him bring down the hammer on Odalina here. She is now found guilty, and we're going to put her in the stocks here so that everyone sees her kind of being punished and everything. And she is going to be banished from our settlement because of her behavior. So she's going to get banished. And she, of course, is just going to go run away to Anawan, who wanted her to move in with him in the first place because of the baby. So um, she didn't want to, though. She didn't want to give up her life, but her life here is now over. So she, I guess, doesn't mind as much, though she is walking into a tumultuous marriage because Sokanon and Anawan are having another baby and are presumably working on their marriage because they are having another baby. And then Odalina is going to go and live there with them. Yeah, that's going to go over well. That's going to go over super well. So anyway, we're back home, and Margaret, now her sisters are involved in this scandal, and everything is going on, and so she just like can't take it anymore. So, by popular demand, she is going to write a letter to Sophronia. She's going to write a letter, and she's going to be like, Grandma, like, so here's the thing: is I think that when they moved here, Isabella and William pretty immediately died. And I don't think Ismay is the type of person to be sending Sophronia updates about the kids and stuff. So, whether or not, I think Sophronia did know that Isabella died because probably, she was informed, everybody was informed. But I don't think she knows anything about what was going on with the kids or anything because Ismay wasn't the type of person to keep her up to date on that. And so Margaret is going to write her and be like, Grandma, like, I know we haven't seen each other in a long time and we haven't been writing to each other. Like, Margaret's life has been so hectic, and I'm sure that Ismay never gave the kids any of Sophronia's letters that she may have written. So Margaret is going to finally write a letter and try to reconnect with her grandmother and be like, so much is going on. Like, we're all alone here. I don't know what to do, just all this stuff. And so, she's just basically going to ask for help. She's going to say, like, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm the only one in this house who does it, who like, can help anything. Although Priscilla is sort of helpful. But, like, she's in this position where, you know, two of her sisters are now involved in a scandal, even though they didn't like do anything by like proxy. And then also like she's just dealing with all that stuff, and she just like can't take it. Like she just needs some help, and so she's going to try and reconnect with her grandmother there. Meanwhile, we have so many different households that we're in today. Meanwhile, we're back with the Waldrick brothers, and as you know, we have Solomon, who is gay and who does not want to get married but is feeling pressure to get married. And so because he feels like this intense pressure to get married, and he knows that Sela is really into him and would marry him in a heartbeat and is like really, really trying to get him to marry her, he's like, well, okay, like I'll accept her advances. Like I need to find a wife because I'm a young adult now. Like he's becoming a young adult this year. So he's like, I have to find a wife. I have to, because people are going to start being like, why aren't you getting married? And it's going to be weird. And, this is the society that they live in. So he's like, okay, I have to get married. So he doesn't want to go with Jane because he does feel like, he noticed that his brother was kind of into Jane, and he already feels guilty about, his brother's jealousy and his brother's feelings about, him getting everything. So he doesn't really want to go after Jane. He is like, you know what, Sela really likes me. She'd get married to me tomorrow. So let's just do it. He, shows her some affection back. They don't do anything romantic. They don't even have a romance bar, but, they spend some time together, and she is obviously over the moon because she really wants to be his wife. And then let's just have them play a game together. So yeah, she is over the moon. She's so happy that he's finally returning her advances. She always wanted to marry him. She's had a crush on him for a really, really long time. And, she really likes that he's in a good position and everything. Just like he has a lot going for him, and she really wants him. And honestly, he doesn't want to put in the work. So her already just wanting to marry him is like really easy for him. Like she's easy for him, like she just wants to get married to him, and he doesn't have to do anything to get her to marry him. So I think that is definitely, a draw for him, where he doesn't want to have to actually romance a woman. Like he feels weird about it, and he feels like he's betraying Bernard and just like all this weird feelings. And so the fact that she would marry him without any of that stuff right now is just, taking the easy way out. And of course, him and Elliot are having trouble getting along. He is trying to mend his relationship with Elliot, and he's going to tell Elliot, like, I'm going to marry Stella. Like, you should go after Jane. I think that she really likes you back. I think that you guys could be really good together. Like, you should totally go for it, and I'll back you, like, whatever you want. And even tells him, like, look, I'll give you half. Like, we can split this stuff half. It doesn't have to be 2/3, 1/3. Like, now I'm in charge of the stuff, so we can just split it halfway because I said so. He's really trying hard to kind of regain that relationship that him and his brother had together where they were really close for a time. So Elliot is going to kind of take the push and he's going to go visit Jane's household, which is actually over here. It's like a whole separate house that I downloaded. Even though there was technically room for them in the settlement, I just thought that like it would be an interesting thing because the youngest child here is a spellcaster. So I thought that maybe they'd kind of want to keep their distance so that nobody finds out their child is a spellcaster. So anyway, he is going to start schmoozing with Jane. They obviously have a really good friendship already. They're being watched by the parents and everything, but he really does like her, and she actually has a crush on him too. So that's really nice. Her parents still don't really approve of him because he doesn't have, as much going for him as like a firstborn son. Even with half, that's not as much as he would have gotten if he was a firstborn. So it's just kind of like, him and Jane are really vibing. They're really liking each other. You can see that she has a crush on him. But her parents are going to be an obstacle in that because they really do feel like he's just not good enough for her. And that is such a bummer for him. But he is really close to Jane, and I'm going to have them do a few romantic interactions. He is feeling very flirty. So they are going to do a couple of little things, nothing too crazy, but just enough to get a little bit of a romance bar, kind of start that relationship before her parents are like, all right, that's enough. So that is what's going on there. He's going to go home now because it is quite late. But then we are going to just head into the house for a second, clean up a little bit, maybe, update Solomon on how it went. And, Elliot and Solomon are trying to repair their relationship. And then we are going to actually play with the Phelps family because Nicholas here, he's nosy. He is so nosy, and I love that for him. So he is actually, heard about, this whole thing with Odalina and the drama and blah, blah, blah. So he is actually going to kind of seek out Sokanon and really try to get the details out of her. He wants to know. Inquiring minds want to know. He really wants to know about the whole thing with the baby and this and that, and he's like, tell me everything. And she, honestly, she's sick of covering up for her husband. She's sick of dealing with his stuff, especially now that Odalina is living there. Like, oh, she's so mad about Odalina living there and she hates it. And she just really is done covering up for them. So she is ready to spill the details. She's ready to say anything and everything, and he loves every second of it. And it's just like a fun thing for them both because she gets to kind of let it out and he gets to, hear the gossip. He does try to be a little flirty with her, but she's not into it. She's like, no, I'm not like that. I'm not like him. So, which is funny because honestly, I was going to let it go somewhere if it did, but it didn't. So, oh well. So yeah, they are funny. So that is actually where we're going to really kind of wrap up the story stuff in this. Although one more thing is going to happen at like the very end of this video, and it's crazy. So don't click off just yet because you're going to want to know this. So we're going to start with birthdays though. So like what I'm trying to do with birthdays here is we have Dakota Waldrick, who is Highway and Bertram's son, becoming an infant. Silas Hobard did pass away. Honestly, it's kind of hard to remember now that there are multiple Hobard families who is in which Hobard family. So like if I look it up, hold on. We're gonna be specific here because Silas, if I can spell Silas, was the child of Christina and Peter, who they still have four living children. They're about to have another baby. And then Zebediah is Silas's brother, and he becomes a toddler. And then Josiah who is not who is not that. Where is Josiah is Wyman and Odalina's child, who is becoming a child. And then Solomon Waldrick is becoming a young adult. Like we talked about, he got the erratic trait. Oh, also Josiah got the hot-headed trait. I am trying to kind of keep these things in mind when I think about what storylines might be good for different Sims. East May Larkin obviously died. Weedamoo met a comet, became a teenager, and she rolled for Freegan for some reason. But those are the birthdays. And let's see, what can I talk about until we get to the cool part? I think that just like, I really appreciate all your comments and everything about what is going on. And I think that, you know, I really appreciate your opinions on things, especially when I'm like not really sure exactly what I want to do or where I want to go with something. Also, isn't she so pretty? I can't even stand it. She's so pretty. But yeah, like sometimes even I don't know what, you know, might be the right choice somewhere. So I really appreciate all your comments, and I love that you guys just have such great ideas for so many things. And yeah, I love it. So this is where we're at, and we're doing the birthdays, and I'm trying to find stuff to talk about. I should probably just cut the video, and we should just cut to the thing. Okay, I got it. So Christina and Peter had a baby, and we named the baby Amity. Also, I'm running out of really not weird names for these kids on my spreadsheet. But right at the same time that Christina was having the baby, also Highway had her baby, and unfortunately, she did not survive. She did not survive the birth. So Highway has passed away. She has two surviving sons and her husband. We have to think about what we're going to do with Bertram. Like, is he still going to live there, like, with his kids? I don't know. What does that mean for Solomon and Elliot? I just feel like there's so many new questions with this, but I feel so bad. I loved Highway. She was my favorite. So I'm super disappointed that she passed away, but that's just the way the dice goes sometimes. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this part. I think Muriel is aging up next year, but we'll see how that goes, and we'll try to get Sophronia back into this, and I hope you guys are enjoying, and I'll catch you in the next one.